This
South
conference
Whitehall
will now
Township
be
Environmental
recorded.
Advisory Council. Present, which is great to see everybody in person. So first order of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from last month's meeting. I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Anyone would like to second that? Okay, great. Those are accepted. Great. So this past month's been a pretty busy month for us. We had several activities that I thought would be worth just talking about briefly while we're all gathered, since not everybody participated in all the activities. The first one was the tour of Total Recycling that several of us attended. Mark, Marie, Sarah, myself, and Brian, I think you attended the virtual tour in the evening. Okay. So it was a pretty extensive presentation. While we were there, there was then a tour of the facility, a walkthrough. I think it was a pretty impressive facility. They've got a fair amount of automation. One of the things that was pretty interesting is that their partnership with JP Mascaro is largely focused on keeping whatever they can out of the landfill that's there so that they can extend the life of that landfill. And so as a result, things that would normally not be recycled by other recyclers are recycled by Total Recycling. So their financial model is a little bit different, right? So they can afford to spend more money to recycle certain things that maybe wouldn't be as profitable for another recycler, but again, with the goal in mind of reducing the amount of material going to the landfill.
That's okay, 'cause that's a really good point.
Exactly the same, Mark. Word for word.
No, you just press it. You can leave it on.
Why don't we just turn them all on?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think it'll be too much.
One of the things that was really amazing was how there were items that they lost money. It cost them money to recycle. However, to them, it was better to pay that fee than have it go into the landfill. That they were really doing their best to cost benefit with the landfill. The cost of putting stuff in the landfill actually had a significant cost to them. Therefore, even though they were losing money on recyclable items, they were still doing it because it was worth their while, their business model, which I thought was amazing. Very, very impressive. I never would have imagined that.
one other incidental item is that the organization that organized the tour, Mid-Atlantic Renewable Energy Association, happened to know somebody on the board. And so I'm going to be following up with him. We're going to meet for lunch next month, and we'll see if there's anything collaborative there that we can think about doing. Somebody I've worked
Do
with.
we assume that members of the public do not know the full extent of recyclable things? I mean, it sounds like from the thing that people are impressed.
Yeah, I never imagined the things that they said they recycle, like cereal boxes, the inside liner, or plastic bags. I thought there's no way they recycle it, but they actually do. And to see it just blew me away, because we've read over the years how things that are recyclable all go to the same landfill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I was very leery when I read the flyer that said, please put these things in the recyclable. I never did because I didn't believe it. And that really changed my whole recycling mode. It would be great if
we
more
could
people-
message it
yes,
with
absolutely.
confidence.
So
Yeah.
it's on our web. It's on the township website. The Mascara recycling flyer is there. It shows, many of the things that can be recycled. But I think
But I
because,
think there is a feel, I mean, I can echo that. There's a feeling of, yeah, that's what they say, but we all know what we saw in that news program that one time that's not
Mhm.
happening, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how to tell people, no, but this is different. But I mean, somehow.
and I think a lot of people probably have never seen that
And maybe never
flyer,
seen the flyer,
and they
sure.
think any kind of flexible plastic is not recyclable, so they don't even bother. So there's definitely some opportunity there.
Talked about annual plan. Sorry.
Okay, great.
We talked about in the annual plan doing multiple education sessions. Could it be possible we could approach them to record, minute demos or something? Program that, other.
Yeah, Brian, you saw it on through the computer. Did it show up? Did you see what was going on? Was
I
it
think
able
it's
to
not
work?
as impactful to,
Sure.
it might be, it's one of us narrating what's going on in relation to the operations minute, where it's like a monthly 1 minute highlighting something unique.
Mhm.
That we could release in parallel with like a.
I love that idea. I think even just, when you look at the whole flyer, I think it's very easy to kind of forget when you get to the end. I know I do. So maybe if we just did a highlight like that and just said, we just talked about plastics, because one thing that I took away was, I think all the plastics.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, well, this one or this one, all of it. So, I love that idea to maybe just highlight one item a week or whatever, and just, I think it might be easy.
Frank, do you recall in our meeting with them, did they say, no, I think it was Marie sent out their initial, it was like an 8-minute video, but it was older. Did you recall did they say they were updating that, or they did update that? I wonder if it's
believe
something,
they said they were updating it. I don't know what the status of that is.
I wonder if that's something that we can ask to
Yeah.
kind of highlight. We would definitely promote it and say these 1 minute clips and kind of give them that idea, so that we can use it for so if you guys call out that these are the items that people don't think that they recycle, and if they can do 1 minute clips and we have a space for them on the website, we can follow up with them on that and continue that conversation. It seemed like they were very open to what kind of promotional
Yeah,
materials.
and I think we should definitely consider sponsoring a tour.
The
Township
EAC.
residents.
Sure.
And we'd have one or two of us go as host, right? I think that would be very worthwhile doing. And they seem like, the more tours they can give, the happier they are. So I don't think we have a problem getting them.
The video that they have, the video that I sent around to you guys, that video is still on their website.
Mhm.
They have not changed, they have not updated it. Okay, so it's that same one. But we saw a great video because they showed us that before the tour.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, and that appears to be the updated video
Okay.
of what they do. Yeah, that's right.
She's clean.
Yeah.
And they didn't look that bad when we went in, actually. They
I'm
didn't.
sorry. Yeah.
No, you're right. He said that, but they didn't look bad. Yeah, it was a very clean environment, I thought.
Cindy's been waiting to say.
Well, no, I don't know if I can.
Sure.
Yes.
It just, I just am, this is so awesome to hear because I thought that they don't recycle. How can they recycle? Everything in the same bin. And I know so many people think that way.
And add to it two things. One is I found out that plastic caps for bottles, that you want to put the caps on the bottle, because if you put the caps separate from the bottles, the caps will fall through and will not go in through the recycling. If the cap is on the bottle, it stays with the bottle and it goes through the system. Who
I
would?
didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't.
There's a chance.
Shelf-ready
that it stays with
containers
the
or like
bottle.
Yeah.
those, like the.
There's no
safe
guarantee.
shelf-
There's
safe
a chance
milk
it stays
Or the
with
broth
bottle.
containers, with those little tiny caps,
Yeah.
those
How
specifically.
they separate the
And the thing that really is impressive is when you just see like an 18-wheeler just dump all the recyclable. Remember, we were all standing there in awe. and then the big forklift comes and picks it up, sticks it on a conveyor belt, and you just watch it go through the system. We were all standing there in awe, remember? No, it did not.
Didn't smell?
No, it did not.
Yeah.
There is a fair amount of material that gets rejected, right? So I mean, there's still room for improvement too, because the first thing they do is it goes through a line and, you can see all the stuff that's dropping out that doesn't even get to the recycling equipment. So
Is a lot of that similar to what Mark brought up at the bottle cap of something that like consumer?
some of that, but some
Okay.
of it's, he said shopping carts or
Oh.
things.
Yeah.
Because he said they collect a lot of industrial toters, right? Bins, recycling bins. And so he said people will come late at night and throw stuff in there that isn't supposed to be in there. So they do still have a fair amount of stuff that doesn't belong there, that gets into the recycling. And I think there's opportunities to educate people. What doesn't belong in the
Yeah.
recycling.
No.
They want younger kids, just high school. And I just want to point out that glass, that was a shocker to me, is that they recycle the glass. They don't recycle the glass.
They don't?
They grind it up and they sell it to other places for like filtration. And then they send it to the landfill because they make zero money on it. Because they didn't shy away from the fact that they were a business. The bottom line, they want to make money, right? But they are doing it for the good of us all. But the glass was a bit of a disappointment to me, that I thought, that was such a great recyclable product.
Nobody recycles glass.
I never do that either.
I mean,
It's the most popular.
you're told to put it in your recycling, but nobody can make money recycling.
Yeah, they don't make the money on it. But I did ask about the fact that because when we built our house, we actually thought about using glass as the aggregate, the stuff that you would put in your septic when you put in, on the septic bed. And I asked about that, and he said that is still being done. He said, they will take those little glass particles and I don't know if they're round or I couldn't get a handle as to the shape of them, but I guess it doesn't matter. But they still do that. That still can be done. So that was interesting. But my big question was, because we've heard about this, I've seen programs about it at other states where they make a big deal about, yes, we accept flower pots. We accept those black plastic pots. Okay. But I saw this on this TV show, so I had to ask, do you accept them? Because we had heard, no, just throw them out because it was rare. And he said, no, we take them. And I can't remember, what did he show us that they make out of that? I can't remember. He had something there on the floor and he picked it up and he goes, yeah, this is what we do with it. But I can't remember what the heck it was. Maybe, I don't know. But he said, yeah. And he told us the shopping bags and is it the shopping bags is it the shopping bags that go to Trex? Remember, they have a contract with the grocery stores?
Like a plastic shopping
The
bag?
plastic shopping bags and because they're reusing them for those various things that they make. And then another one was for benches, so some of them they have contracts with some of the grocery stores. And they pick it up directly.
So that gets into one of the big real issues with recycling, though, is that, a lot of plastic doesn't go back. It's not a circle, right? It doesn't go back to its original use. A soda bottle doesn't become another soda bottle, and in some cases. But so some of the alternative uses of those plastics are pretty limited markets compared to the amount of plastic that's being generated. So it's kind of, it's worth doing, but it's not a cure-all, right? Because the end market that the recycled plastic goes into an end market that's much smaller than the product itself that's being generated, virgin material.
So reducing plastic is a much greater benefit than saying.
Yeah. Well,
I think the product that was created, they created themselves and created the whole market. It was some kind of board that
Yeah.
decking board? Yeah.
And that's from the flexible.
Yeah,
The flexible
yes, yeah.
Packaging, that's amazing what they use it for.
She stole it.
I know, I was about to say that.
Chris, that's why it's reduce, reuse, recycle, right? I mean, in that order of importance, yeah. So
Is there an opportunity in the township for repurposing some of that they use for fill mix into the asphalt? Like, is there anything that we could almost not make a show of
Yeah.
it, but bring it close to home?
It's a good question. It's something like, so I know we've been trying to do some of that with mulch, like as part of the yard waste side. The only thing with the glass, if it's used for material, oftentimes the materials are bid out. And I don't know what the opportunities would be. It'd have to be kind of specific to a specific. Wouldn't be anything that would be great. And that kind of goes back to the big problem. So like if we're looking at purchasing X amount of material for something, we have to go with a large bid and so forth. But we can definitely look at it. And that's what I was going to ask with either Mascaro or even with, is it Revolution Recycle?
Oh, Revolution.
Recovery, if there's opportunities for the township to work directly with either of those. Glass is a great idea. I was kind of thinking the same thing when she said, like, they could use it in some materials, but it'd probably be more of a demonstration project. But I can bring it up to Herb and where there could be an opportunity. But I don't know if, what does Revolution Recovery do with a lot of their?
They have their markets and they really have to sift through it. Not everything gets to where it needs to be.
well, they said 30%.
Yeah.
Only 30% of what comes into that facility gets reused.
Yeah. And so what, is it Cindy? Okay, what you don't know is we toured a place right here in Allentown. Their main office is in Philly called Revolution Recovery. And they recycle construction waste materials. That's the majority of what they do. Construction waste. Yeah. I mean, if you have a residential project and you'd like to use them, you certainly can. I did. But, and they have a facility here now.
Oh, so this isn't what we throw in.
No, this is,
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
No,
No,
what they were talking about. was
Yes.
the Total.
Total
part
recycle.
So that is,
Oh,
now they
just
switched
Mascaro.
to Revolution.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
because
sorry,
someone
I
asked a question.
sidetracked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something different. So you toured total recycling.
Yes,
We
that's
did
oh,
both.
both
We did
conversation.
both.
We toured both. Yeah.
So they do recycle the residential.
Who is,
Total Recycling does.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, Total
The one in
Recycle
your-
is the recycling partner for JP Mascaro.
but yeah, to answer your question. They're always open to conversation. Revolution Recovery is always open, questions, whatever.
Great, thank you.
Plus, Mark needs more interactions with rats.
Yeah.
Oh my God, were they rats? They were like, remember?
We didn't see them.
Oh, I saw them. Yeah,
Our
we saw them.
our
Oh, yeah.
tour did not go where you guys went.
Are you guys gonna tour garbage,
Small dog
landfill too? You'll probably see lots of stuff then. And it'll stink.
I felt sorry they had a lot of cats.
The fire.
I felt sorry for the cat.
One
Yeah, yeah. It was some kind of plastic. I forget what it was.
final question on this from me. Would it be possible, like, to recommend a change to the code that for bids that needs to be a certain percent recycled? Like, is that something that would fit within our goals of reviewing the code for opportunities?
You're talking like the hauling bid is,
Well, for like, if we're saying we want a township construction
oh,
to say we need to use a percentage of recycled.
It's a question I can bring up. If I'm being honest, it probably won't get very far if it's a big bid project like that, only because it will probably have a significant cost increase. And so I don't know what the market is. It depends on what it is, but I think it can be something from a policy standpoint we can look at. I'm not involved in some of the public projects enough to know how viable that is. But I will say when it comes to bids, I mean, they're looking at every dollar counts and they tend to go with lowest bid unless there's something specifically against that. And I can only imagine the opportunities are probably slim for someone to provide a competitive bid also with that. So it's something we can definitely look at, but it's going to be.
Are there?
Is it something where
state
we
or
could just
federal
ask?
grants though?
To help with public projects that have a requirement. So I would say like, in my mind, I have like a paving project because that's kind of what we're talking about. I would kind of put that to the side. That's more what I'm alluding to from the, it's probably not going to be cost effective.
But what I'm saying is, could there be a federal or state grant
Supplement.
to supplement that to make it?
We can look into.
I mean, that's really how, you know, the whole idea behind.
Is it something that is a starting point, bids should have a statement?
I think
Because
that's. a
we're all
great
operating on the
starting point.
assumption that it's going to be more expensive,
Yeah.
which we don't know.
Yeah.
So it should be there. And even if we spend a year tracking, okay, they're all 100% more expensive. Or maybe over the course of the year, we've now seen a bunch and actually they're a tiny bit and some of them are lower. And now we know. But if we don't know, then we're just all assuming it's.
Are
I
we,
think that's a great starting point for
Yeah.
us to even see what's out there. It's like I said, I have no idea.
And if you have two that are really similar, now it's
Mhm.
on the paper and you can make prices that.
are we talking about revolution recovery? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I think we're talking about someone providing materials and for a bid project and understanding how much of that material comes from recycled materials. And if those percentages are higher, I think what Emily's sort of asking is, can we at least
Yeah, and
identify
if
that?
you put it in the request, then the people who are bidding are going to say, oh, they're looking for that. And they may even choose themselves to say, well, can we make an effort to make ourselves look better in this
Yeah.
way?
Okay.
You know,
I think it's a great starting point. I think we can kind of apply it across different types of departments and see where it goes. Even for smaller projects, I think that can probably get a lot more legs than like a big paving project or something.
It was interesting that the contract we got with Mascaro, this was kind of like a side note, if that makes sense. This was not the driving decision in them winning the bid, but it just so happened that Mascaro does this. So it was kind of like an extra bonus, as well as, I was going to add one more thing to it. That, yeah, it was just a really extra bonus that they do that we had no idea.
So
And
here,
also, I know the other thing I wanted to say is that also townships, because South Whitehall Township is considered more of an elite township as opposed to like maybe City of Philadelphia. Mascaro thought that our recycling would be a more thoroughly vetted process than if it was like a center city. So that made them more attractive to giving a more competitive bid. So they're looking at the township, the educated people and how, you know, their whole thought process, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, very cool.
so here's the real opportunity that I see for the Environmental Advisory Council. The next time the contract comes up, it will go to the low bidder, which may or may not be Mascaro. It may be WM again, in which case all this extra recycling goes away. And I think we have an opportunity to highlight what additional environmental benefit is being provided by Mascaro and Total Recycle as a consideration in renewing the contract. So it's not just based on who's the lowest bidder. I mean, that still may be what makes the decision, but I think we as an advisory council should look to advise the board on what, and when the contracts come up, which I know is a couple of years from now, but when those contracts come up, we should look at those contracts and see what's included from an environmental standpoint and make sure the board's aware if there's a difference in environmental benefit that's being provided by one or the other hauler, that they're at least aware of that when they make that decision.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Frank, because I attended the meeting virtually where they were, where the board was considering the bids. And my question was to JP Mascaro, tell me about your recycling program. Tell me about what you're doing with plastics, because I've heard a lot about it. What can you tell us? And until that point, they hadn't talked about it.
Yeah.
So, and then they went into this whole thing, so, and the board was interested.
Well, and that goes back to Emily's point of putting that into the bid spec so that everybody, when they're bidding on it, provides that. You guys are providing your recommendation on that, evening out that cost benefit analysis to show cost may be higher, but your benefit.
Because if you look at the history, I mean, we've just been switching back between Scarrow and WM, for as long as I can remember. And it's just going to low bidder every time, right? So.
And some of the other trash hauling companies actually still use the Mascaro process, which I thought was interesting because they also saw the benefit, and Mascaro was their vehicle for recycling. So it wasn't just Mascaro. They were bringing in other recycling companies, other haulers.
Send out like the previous request for proposals, so that we can see if there's a way. Assuming it has bidding criteria and judge it on.
Yeah, I can pull that together. Yeah, I mean, it's probably 4 years old now, so I can pull it together. And
I mean, if it's online too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's probably off by now, but it was probably the bid was probably online, but I can pull that together. Because I think too, I know Frank said that it's several years away, but I don't think it's that far away from what goes into that bid. It might be end of this year, if not early.
Okay. All right. It was a 5-year contract or whatever, but it's been 3 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be
right,
kind of the sunsetting time where they're looking to get the bid ready.
In the interest of time, I think we should move on. So the next activity was last Thursday. Marie, you were there at the Parkland Library?
Yep. Yeah, it's as I explained to all of you when I put my email out. The video is extraordinary. They don't call it the extraordinary caterpillar for no reason. So I had told the library that it really was geared toward adults and older kids, like maybe high school age, maybe older middle school age. The Eco Club was there, and I didn't realize how many of those kids were very young kids. So that's not what I was told, initially. And I don't know that Mary Ann knew the age group of the kids in the Eco Club. She thought they were older. They were not older. So that was a bit of an issue as far as, for young kids, how can I put it? That the filming is extraordinary. The pictures were extraordinary. You don't see things like this. I mean, they were magnified so you could actually see what these critters look like. And then why are they important and where do they live? This type of thing, So, but the little kids, once you get past a couple minutes, they're kind of like, so they had a place in the back for them to draw and color and this kind of thing. The adults that were there, some of the adults were very, very interested in it. We had 2 people walk out, and I think it was because maybe, and I'm just going to make assumptions here because I don't know, maybe those kinds of things freak them out, seeing what they actually look like up close, and some of them are extremely beautiful. Or maybe that's not what they thought the program would be. I don't know. So, but all in all, it's a great program. I'd like to see it. I know you and I talked, Chris. I'd like to see the Parks and Rec people see it. I'd like to see Public Works people see it, because when Public Works goes out and they mow, depending on the time of the year that they mow, and you're cutting down all as the one guy said, weeds, they don't know what's in them. And the timing is important. So losing some of those small things in the ecosystem really can create havoc. So, and that's the whole point of this.
Did they talk about ideal habitat? Is it something that is identifying existing habitat that we should be looking out for, or restoring areas for better habitat? Or is it like, that's kind of always what I think of when we know there's maybe something that there's a threat to a species, identifying, the areas where that species is most likely to occur, or where we can direct that species to go.
I would say that the big point that this individual made was roadside weeds. Like there's some stuff in there that's growing, and I think it's called Daisy Fleabane. I have it at my house, and you see it growing along the roads. Well, then he had this really close-up shot of this caterpillar, this small caterpillar that lives in the middle of that flower. Now we're talking flower like this big. And then he shows the caterpillar pulling petals off. And they disguise themselves by somehow attaching these petals to their bodies. It's amazing how these creatures try to disguise themselves in different ways so they don't get eaten. Eventually they will. The birds need them, and that's why we need caterpillars. So, but at any rate, great program. We had a lot of little kids, but we did have adults. I did put the poster boards up. I did talk about the EAC briefly. Emily was there too. And Marianne, we did talk about it, didn't we? To approach this topic. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was there too. I mean, I think Marie's definitely highlighting things that were challenges. I think it was a really positive experience. I think it was great for our relationship with Marianne as a library person. I think we had a chat afterwards. She's very, very excited to work with us, not with any asterisk or anything. I have no idea, I'll just put this, I don't know what the rules are, but she said they're looking for space. So if there's events that they could help host here, or if we wanted to include them in something, that would absolutely, yes. I mean, so I think we've got a partner. So that's fantastic. If we wanted to have them screen it again, she was open to it. We would want to think about timing and audience and how to get the right people and when that would be. The movie itself really is focused on the caterpillar. I mean, as Marie said, it's amazing. You get all these really close shots of very weird looking caterpillars, and it's a delight to see that because you don't usually see that. It does talk some about environment. It's kind of the generic, we should have native trees, we should have meadows, so it's not really specific, plant these things in Pennsylvania kind of thing. But given that you're seeing these amazing caterpillars, it's very motivating, right? You're like, yes, I will do it for them. Another thing that was amazing and informative for me, because I think about planting butterfly gardens, and then there's all these birds in our backyard, and I'm like, oh no, but the birds are going to eat them, and that'll be sad. And because you want a butterfly, right? Isn't that the goal? Right. I know, but my kids will be sad when I get the butterflies out. But he pointed out that a chickadee family, when their eggs have hatched, needs 6,000 caterpillars in the first 10 days, 6,000 to 9,000. So it's a big thing. That's the thing. You think, oh, caterpillars and butterflies, but they're so crucial to the whole ecosystem. And so that made me say, okay, fine, I'll plant all the flowers and they'll just feed all the birds. And I love birds too, and it's fine.
They talk about leaving your leaves and not cutting back.
Yes, yeah.
Like mid-May, Mother's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do that. I save all my leaves.
Yeah. What I was telling Marie, because I'm new, very passionate, but newer to gardening. We moved here recently, so newer to the whole gardening thing. And I think from a timing perspective, I think if people are like me, probably a lot of them are thinking March as it's getting warmer, but not, or February. as you're just dreaming of spring,
Yeah.
right? What should I do with my garden? You're not doing it yet, but you're thinking, what am I going to do with this garden? I don't know if it would be with the library again or something, but some kind of, hey, you could plant on wildflowers. You can, let's help you landscape into your yard something. So I think it's waiting a long time, but we could plan ahead and have something that would be meaningful. Anyway.
That is what I was going to ask. If
Yeah.
you guys see this kind of happening again, what are the things that you think could draw a different crowd or a bigger crowd? And maybe even just timing might be a more appropriate.
Right.
Yeah,
crowd.
Marianne said that the movie's long. It's an hour. It's wonderful and it's great to watch, but their programs tend to run about an hour. And if the goal is ultimately action, not just inspire you, but go home and take action, I think people may need some more guidance, not just watch the video, but then, okay, well, what seeds do I get? What part of my yard do I put it in? How much space does it need? So if there's she said, if we watch a clip of it or something, some part of it or a part of something, and then spend some time actually, let's work with you to plan space. You want to get out a piece of paper and draw, let's work with you and figure this out. I think people would go home with something to get them
What
moving.
if you would partner with someone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You
sure.
show it and then you have, I have a lot of neighbors.
Right.
Yeah.
We could offer them even free. Here, take one home, almost like Arbor Day.
Yeah, I think
And
that works
kind of
for
make
some
it
people. I've seen a lot of things where they pass plants out. For me, I'm a planner, so going home with a plant and I don't know where I'm putting it yet is like, I don't know what to do with this. It's gonna die. No one told me where to put it. So I think some people absolutely, it's like, let's go home and dig a hole. But
So
we
there's-
could also do something more for the planner types.
Right.
I was like that when I first started, scared. Like,
Yeah.
I moved it 5 times.
Yeah.
You just didn't know what to do with it.
Well, the other thing, the other thing Marianne mentioned is she said, perhaps we team up with the master gardeners.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Yes.
we
That's what I'm
team,
kind of-
perhaps we team up with Edge of the Woods that sells
Mhm.
all the native plants. We partner with someone if we're going to do a program because the master gardeners are great at
She said they were really great.
being able
Yeah.
to tell you how to do this. People up at Lehigh Gap, they know this stuff. Edge of the Woods works with them so that we have people we can contact.
And
It'd be great to have them there in that moment and
Yes.
people can spend 15 minutes afterwards saying, but this is my specific scenario.
Yes.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Encouraging
Right. No.
people,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can each have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love the idea of
I'm just like, tell me what to do.
Well, I even
Yeah.
have a book that has for certain plants, like where they go and how to group them together in designs, like even come up with, here's examples of designs or.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, so
We have an HOA where I
do
live.
they
Yeah.
give you a requirement of when you have to cut your stone by in the beginning?
That is good. Yeah. They haven't anything official. They sort of nag. I don't know. I don't know. Not
Yeah,
sure.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I've seen your main guys. that
Yeah.
come And do it. I know. Yeah, but that might be something like, hey, let's not urge them to maybe push the date
Sure.
back. Time, because we have a lot of times at the beginning. Say, hey, just maybe wait until April.
Yeah, I kind of missed the beginning of that. Were you talking about a mandated time the HOA requires a homeowner to maintain their property or with a maintenance company?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I know that the maintenance company for the HOA that's across the street from me, I know they've been there a couple times already. Maybe we could talk with developers that are coming in to say, hey, maybe let's let that push off a little bit. The grass doesn't have to be mowed already.
Yeah.
I know our weather is variable, so it's hard to really make that determination, but just that, and then also the individual homeowners, maybe we could, because if there is a requirement that the HOA gives these homeowners that you have to have it cut by the 15th of April, or I don't know. Maybe we could negotiate with them to have that pushback as well.
I would say I'm sorry.
I just wondered if you ever EAC day.
We did.
And wouldn't that be cool?
We can't talk about that right now.
Sarah's been waiting 3 years for that. I think all that goes into I love the idea of the education, like you mentioned before, of that, like naturalizing your space. I think that's great education for the homeowners. And then HOAs are really tough just because we don't necessarily have the best contacts with HOAs, but that's something we're trying to get better with, but that having like those materials, we can definitely provide that to the HOAs, whether it is like a management company and saying like, hey, like this is something the township is okay with if we kind of revise that high weed and grass ordinance. And if we have kind of a program that promotes that in the education, the dealing with the HOAs directly and how our ordinances match what HOAs require is a very, very big issue right now. So that's the only kind of like caution pin I put in that, but developing the education that we can get to individuals and to the management companies, I think that's wonderful.
Maybe that's like a 2027 goal, is just to start thinking about how to work with because I like the idea of working with HOAs, but that may be a project.
It's
I'm hearing.
very,
Yeah,
very
sure.
tough in
I'm sure.
many different ways.
Yeah.
But I think working with them from an education standpoint is
Sure.
always a benefit.
Yeah, okay.
So I strongly encourage whatever you guys kind of come up with from that. I love the idea of like a pamphlet or something. I know there's so many examples out there, master gardeners and so forth, they have this, but like something that matches kind of what you're trying to promote, and to make sure, again, that like what you're promoting isn't an issue with the township, and like revising that high weeds and grass ordinance just to make sure that it's not just encouraged, but allowed.
So is there an opportunity to partner with the library on a broader set of topics though than just?
I feel like from our discussion with Mary Ann, she was super excited, loved it.
All right.
So if we figure out stuff and we want to,
Okay.
she's happy to, in this case, it was her audience already, so.
Okay.
And then the last thing is this DCNR came out with this program, and that's what I sent you. I gave you here and there. And we passed these out that night as well. And DCNR, the state's DCNR, promoting this project of giving out 300 pocket meadow kits. So you can create pocket meadows on your property. Okay, but you have to register.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m. and I will be on my computer, so.
There you go,
Just be
registration.
careful, just be careful with that they have the right kind of flowers. I looked at that and they weren't all native. I didn't do it.
Did you look at the DCNR?
Yeah, I looked at some of them.
Oh,
You
no.
have to be really careful. Be sure
Oh,
that they are native. Some of
yeah.
them that weren't. I think I saw one that had not flea bane, that real loose, I forget what it's called.
No,
That there were some of them that had like invasive ones that weren't native. Just be careful. Look at the ingredients.
yeah,
Okay.
I would look at
Yeah,
it.
and this might be totally fine, just saying.
Well, but you want native, I mean, you would want
We
it to
want
be native. Because
And they
that's
don't
what,
all do with metal packets, because I already was going to do that. I've actually bought one and thought, oh, this is great. And then I was looking at it, I was like, oh.
But you,
if you buy it like at a store,
you-
I
I
yeah.
got
that's the
it
problem.
through an organization.
Oh,
And
okay.
Arbor Day you have to watch too, because they don't do all natives. They've done
right, with
some.
trees,
Yeah.
they probably would not. I have a feeling,
The fine print here does say native seeds, but it's,
Oh, well, that's
it's worth
good.
looking.
yeah, I would,
Yeah.
yeah, because DCNR is on a bandwagon about this. Okay, so DCNR, this
I
is
don't mean
big,
to be-
yeah, it's a
No,
big
it's
push.
true because I've seen lots of like wildflower, I mean, I
Yes.
don't know, but
Yeah,
wildflower
not-
packets
yes,
where
they're
it's
not.
like, or it's out of the region, you
Right,
know.
Yes,
something.
that's the other thing.
Exactly.
It's not native to our region.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this here, yeah, you have to be on the phone, register for, yeah, we're tomorrow, Eastern Region, 9 a.m. So,
Oh, it's on my calendar.
yeah. What's
That's
left?
all they're offering, 100.
What's left?
100 per region.
Can I? Maybe.
100 per region? Okay, so you really have to get on.
Well,
I know, I'm
region.
telling you, I'm
Okay,
gonna be
there
on
you
at
go.
9 a.m. tomorrow.
So there you go, guys. And so it's, yeah. Emily, it was a pretty good program. The library liked working with us, and I do believe there's other opportunities. Yep.
If you guys want to follow up with that idea of something in February, which I think is fantastic, especially because if you can do like the video and partner and get people to start thinking, I just think it's a great time. Think about crowd. How was the crowd? So I know you said that
It
they're
was a
looking for
big
more
crowd.
space.
I mean-
Is that something you think would grow out of there for that particular program? Like,
Like half the crowd was kids. So it was kids and their parents.
Okay.
So together, I don't know. Like it was, yeah, like it was
Okay.
total, like it filled the space for sure. I don't know what it would look like if we were, switching audience away from it, just young, 5-year-olds or whatever. But, yeah.
Well, what Frank was saying, and I just remembered it. Charlie was there. Charlie came up from Villanova. It came up from Villanova and deliberately wanted to see this program because he wants to take it back to Maria, the Mid-Atlantic Renewable Energy
okay, great.
Association. Yeah, he wants to take it back. So I didn't realize that he worked down in Villanova now.
He's been there for 17 years. I think.
Is that how long he's been there? Yeah, I didn't realize, but he came up all the way up after work to attend this event and said, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
he's very much interested in taking it.
May I make an observation? I mean, we've been kicking around a lot of ideas. I think a lot of good discussion. I think we really have to make sure that we focus on doing something as opposed to just putting a bunch of great ideas in the minutes. So I think, as we start, as we're kicking these things around, let's try to, focus on which ones we want to prioritize and what we as a committee are actually going to commit to do. Okay, so we actually get something done. I'll get off my soapbox now.
I appreciate
at the end
that
of the
as
meeting?
well. And I'll just say, if it is something where there's ideas bubbling up, and if you do need something from the township to follow up, if it is something like this, like if you're saying, we'd like to do this program this time, get these partners involved, and that's kind of the direction you want to go, just emphasize that.
Yeah, so what I would say is, how about next month, we're capturing all this in the minutes. Let's after everybody reviews the minutes next month, let's come to next month's meeting and let's try to develop an action plan. Which are the things that we're going to actually go do? Who's going to do it? What is, the next step? And I think that getting 2 or 3 things done is better than talking about 10 great things and not doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've been involved with a lot of volunteer committees in the past, and they often have a tendency to just kind of blue sky it, and wouldn't it be nice if somebody did this,
Yeah.
right? And never circling back to being that somebody. So I tend to be very sensitive about that. So.
And I appreciate that, because then I get stressed if I'm not doing something to facilitate. I'm wondering, like, do I need to be doing something? Is there, which direction are we going? So
I think, of what we've talked about, I think we can easily pick out 2 or 3 things and just go, and act on them. And so let's plan to make those decisions next month if everybody's agreeable. Okay, great. Sarah, you're next. Your discussion with Lisa Roth.
Oh, sorry. I met with Lisa Roth, who's just a wonderful individual and is just such a pleasure to be around. So we kind of, went over everything that we had talked about. I went over that with her and just kind of said, where can we really fit in with the school district? How can we get in? Who can we talk to? Who are the right people? And she gave me some names. So I sent out an email to those names. And I heard back from Dr. Madsen, who is going to hook us up with the advisory council in the high school. And right now it's a very busy time of year for them, which I really don't think they're lying. It really is a crazy time of year at the schools. And so I would imagine probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, we'll kind of reconvene and get together, start a plan. My question to you guys is, and once I start moving further down that, rabbit hole with them, I will start including you guys there. But my question to you guys, what do we want to really focus on first with them? I don't know what that answer is now, but because we had talked about doing a lot of different things. I know I did, and I threw out a lot of blue sky ideas, but what really would be our focus with them? Go ahead.
I think we'd said we wanted to hear what they had. We didn't want to drive the agenda too much if they had stuff that they wanted to partner on. But I don't know if you're sensing that we need to drive the agenda or what.
Sarah, I would like to see the next step.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of us sit down and say, here's what we're concerned about. What are you concerned about? Where can we find common ground? Throwing ideas at them. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this before. I think we don't want to shut them off because, oh, well, that's not something we want to do, right? And so I think we can be very flexible around, topics. And so I'd really, if they have certain topics that are of great interest to them, then I think we can accommodate them, hoping they will accommodate us.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree. Yeah, I think.
And how did you get Dr. Mattson to answer? We couldn't.
I can't reveal all my sources.
She's the vice chair. That's why. What was so you said Dr. Madsen was going to put you in touch with an advisory council of theirs?
Yeah, so it's a staff member. So they're actual staff members of the high school, a man and a woman.
Have their names though.
Around like sustainability, around the environment, like is that what they advise on? Like,
didn't give specifics. I threw out some ideas of which, just things that I thought would be exciting, but I said, we are totally open. I said, our main objective is really just to sit down, start a conversation and really just see how we can collaborate together and just, grow some ideas together. So I put it all out there, but then I just said, we are totally flexible to any ideas you have. We'd like to work with you with what you're doing existing. So, beyond that, I haven't had any new ideas as far as,
Well,
do you have the contact information for these people? Why don't we, in the next couple of weeks, reach out to them directly, say that, we want to start a conversation, maybe with the idea of creating some collaborations for the next school year, right? We'll give them some time to, give some time to actually brainstorm some stuff and put it together. Obviously, we're not going to do anything with them this school
year. No, that's true. And I didn't put because I did follow up and after, that initial button, I just basically said, I really look forward to working with you guys. This is great. I know you're busy. Let's just kind of whenever you're ready kind of thing. But I didn't put a time frame in there. So maybe in a week or two or next week or something, I could just lay out and say, this would be for the next school year.
But I think I don't think it's too forward to say, could we set up a meeting, right?
Yeah, and I think they know that's my intent.
Yeah.
For sure, but I can absolutely.
But I would be very explicit about that.
You got it.
And if they have some sort of advisory council, it sounds like he puts you in touch with people that are interested in talking to the EAC as well. So maybe they have some sort of internal environmental advisory council that they have established programs and protocols. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of the question to your point, Frank. Like, what are they doing now? Mm-hmm. Why? Like, what does this advisory council do? And what are they planning in the future?
And how can we help? How can we just get involved? Right. Yeah. Right.
But I'm guessing it's probably just for the high school environmental club or something. That's probably all it is,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so
Chris made it sound really good, though.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think they have some overarching environmental.
I'm very curious because we have the Envirothon this week. So like Parkland High School with their supposedly top tier environmental students will be here on Wednesday. And that's where, like, if they're doing something beyond just that, I'd love to know.
Well, and or if we had the name, Sarah, because some of
Yeah.
us are going to be there, and we could say, oh, Sarah reached out to, or not in a creepy stalker way. but-
I'm not sure if I should say them.
No, just
Yeah.
email us. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, because they haven't elected. Yes, they're going to. Dr. Madsen
right, that's why.
elected.
Gives us
for
something to
Yeah.
talk to them about while Frank is giving them food before he gives them
them. I'll email
their
You guys there.
Well, why don't you email them and say that we will be there on
No, I didn't do that. I will do that. Okay.
yeah.
And we'd be very eager to talk with them, right? So,
That sounds great. I
Yeah.
can do that.
We'll be there at lunch, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Frank and I will be at the
really quick-
high school at lunch. The high school.
You're going to be at the
I'm
Envirothon
at the middle school.
Thursday and Friday?
Wednesday.
Friday.
This Wednesday. And yeah,
Wednesday's
Emily.
the high school.
Yeah, Emily and I will be there on Friday for middle school. But as Marie pointed out, we don't really like little kids, apparently. We don't want little kids involved. We wanted older kids.
I'll get all the.
Just the way it was.
It's a joke.
they're like the caterpillars and we want the butterflies.
Exactly.
Oh, I think they're the caterpillar.
Yeah, I'll be there
Even the
from like, I can be there from 11 to like 1:30.
Let them know that you guys are going to be there on those.
Yeah, that's fine. You can give them my name and phone, give them my phone number and, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That one, you might know her. You probably already know her. Yeah. So to conclude that, it's promising. I think it's promising. I think we're opening the door. And I think that, we're not going to let it go. And I think that it's just a matter of time before it all works out. So, I'm not someone who would give up
We
on.
appreciate you taking the initiative.
Thank you. I'll try to move us along quickly. Earth Day event happened with Parks and Rec and all of that. Lynn did a great job. I think it was very well attended. I don't have a great memory of last year, but definitely at least as many or more than. It seemed like people sort of trickled in. There was a bunch of people at the beginning and then more trickled in and stuff. Weather was great. And we had a fun time. So I'd be interested what Lynn said, Chris, but my feeling about it was that it was very positive. So
It's wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you for going. I'm sorry I couldn't attend.
that's fine.
And really impressive press here. I'm looking here. I'm excited to talk to my planner friends to show them that our Earth Day cleanup was above the Lehigh Valley housing shortage on the the front page of the morning call.
I'm sure there were lots of Earth Day events in the fact that highlighted South Whitehall Township.
That's a really good point. This isn't the Parkland Press. This is the
That's
morning
right.
call.
Right.
Yeah.
And kudos to the township. They did a really good job of supplying the stuff we needed. So I was really thankful. You could just show up and help out and all the stuff was there. So it was nice.
It was a stream cleanup and.
There's a stream
plantings.
cleanup and some planting. Yeah, both.
How am I missing all these things? Things are going on.
That is a good question.
Yeah, this is like the only one that probably has a good solution because this was a Parks and Rec event. So the Parks and Recreation Department, we do have a Parks and Recreation Facebook page. So that's kind of a good one for that. But as far as other events and environmental issues, that's a problem that needs
It
a
is,
solution.
That's a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Because I don't know very many people who look at the South Whitehall on a
No,
regular basis.
No, yeah.
That tends to be where all this stuff gets put. And if that's the only place it gets put, I think a lot of residents
I mean, the Parks and Rec Facebook page does get a lot of traction. And then if you ever do an event with Parks and Recreation, you get onto you have to sign in through Rec Desk, which is like the outside portal for that. And then you get email.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I get emails about activities that are happening
Yeah.
through Parks and Rec.
I will say there was an
But-
electronic sign at Covered Bridge Park for at least a week before the event.
Oh, down at the park.
Down at
Oh,
the park,
cool.
yeah.
That's great. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Right at the
I-
entrance to the playground.
They update the sign here, but it's tough. You drive right past and yeah.
I was just, day 5 to 7.
We need a blue.
Yeah.
So in regard to getting messages out, Chris, and I might really be behind with this, but we're no longer doing that hard copy newsletter, the magazine. That's, to me, is crazy.
I believe the answer is no. I know we talked about it earlier and I was going to follow up. I don't think that it's scheduled. They've shifted to the e-newsletter. I'll say this about the hard copy newsletter. It became more challenging every year from the scheduling of it, because when you're putting articles into it, those articles are, if it's something worth, especially, and I can speak from like my end of things. If I'm working on a project that I want to share with the public, I need something that the article has to have like 4 months out what I want to share with the community to have enough of the lead time there. It's also very expensive. It's a very, very expensive and a time consuming piece of right now, the Parks and Recreation Department. The e-newsletter was proposed as a supplement to get more information out there in a way that can be accomplished quicker, more timely, and much less cost. So we can constantly put it out there. We can update it as much as it's necessary.
But
I know that there's been requests for the paper one.
well, even an electronic one, you need to push it, right?
Oh, yeah.
There needs to be an email list.
Yeah.
This Everbridge thing that I have, why isn't it, why isn't there a notice on there that there's a new South Whitehall Township e-newsletter?
Mhm.
I signed up for that. And newsletter.
No,
Signed up for
nobody gets the newsletter emailed to them.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't get it
I
emailed to
don't
Well,
me.
why don't you get it?
No one's getting the e-newsletter emailed to
Put it in
them?
with
Not by email,
the-
no.
I get the Parks and
search
Rec,
bills.
just like, typed up list of.
There
I'll
needs to
look
be
at
a,
that.
so there needs to be
Yeah.
a distribution list for this thing so
Yeah.
that it gets pushed out to the public.
Yeah, this
And
is
an easy way to
news to
find out.
me.
Oh,
Yes, yeah. I will look into that. As step one, I will look into, that's a big issue that needs to be.
Yeah,
addressed.
absolutely.
Yeah. As far as the paper newsletter, yeah.
If we get an easy.
I think if you
Yeah.
email an electronic newsletter,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that they like the paper newsletter. There's something about having it there.
Mhm.
It's great when you're you look at a piece of it, you go back a week later, you look at another piece of it. I think the problem is the content. The content, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, because if it's content that isn't time relevant, you're putting in so much to it early on. A lot of it, we would try to do something seasonal, but then it started to become the same articles every year.
That
We were
part
putting
of
out the same information.
I did notice that, but
Yeah.
but it's like Frank said, people, if that gets taken away, and then people are like, okay, what happened to it? And now where do I get this newsletter information?
Mhm.
Maybe not thinking, just go on the website, but I agree with you. That needs to be out there to people.
Yeah, this is a big surprise to me that you're not getting an emailed e-newsletter.
No.
Okay.
And just to say, when we would get the hard copy, we would get it 4 times a year. And right, we would get the hard copy.
I thought it was two times a
times?
year.
Two.
Yeah,
I
it
think
had to be,
e-newsletter
because like I said, it's 4 months pretty much to lead,
Yeah.
to get it prepared and then distributed is probably another month.
So maybe I'm alone here, but I feel that more is better. I wouldn't mind a newsletter like one
month.
every month, just with up-to-date, relevant information.
Paper or e? Okay.
Yeah.
And
just email.
the
Mhm.
frequency we have talked about.
Yeah.
I think Yeah, well,
It's, I do like public meetings for my job, and we have the same issue where these people want these meetings, but our time is spent preparing for the meetings and not doing our job, which is not productive. So I would rather spend my time cleaning up the world and not, presenting about things we're going to do.
Fair, but I feel that if you're someone who doesn't want to come to the meeting, or if you're someone that doesn't, minus us, or doesn't, or wants to be involved but doesn't know, having an e-letter come out once a month to help keep you involved is, I don't know of a better way. I don't know of a better way. Maybe text messaging, maybe people can opt in to have texts sent to them if an event is coming. Oh, I love text messages.
Well, that Everbridge is,
I personally.
we could use that for,
You can't
I'm
miss
not
it.
familiar with Everbridge. Is that Nixle?
What is that?
yeah.
Okay.
Nixle.
Yeah, Nixle's great. Nixle, I don't know the protocol for Nixle of like what constitutes a Nixle alert and what doesn't. I'd be surprised if the Earth Day planting was a Nixle event.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
It could be road
Okay.
closures.
It's intended to be more alerts, things that you need to know, less than you want to know. And that's supplemented by the e-newsletter. The idea of more frequency is a possibility with something like the e-newsletter because it can be automated. So Lynn's been doing a fantastic job of getting more accustomed to how to get her articles faster, trying to schedule things out. And I look to you guys as well. Like, I would love, something 4 times a year from the EAC to just give her content.
Yeah, and that's, we need if we're gonna do public education, we need a vehicle for that.
Yeah.
It
So,
sounds like the next step is for us to figure out how we can see the current e-newsletter, because we can provide lots of feedback on it, but not have seen it.
Yeah.
So let's see it. Let's do that. And then we'll look at next
Yeah,
steps.
and that helps with, I really appreciate Derek's comment because that is true. And especially for not just, my staff, but the seasonal staff like Lynn and her staff, where, it might be easier to prepare a couple of things earlier in the year, but once it hits summer camp season and the summer, like for her to do an e-newsletter is so much more work just in the middle of everything. But if there's pieces that can be automated, if there's content prepared ahead of time, if you guys are thinking like, oh, what's something from an environmental perspective that we want in the summer e-newsletter, we can get that to her ahead of time. It's easy to schedule in. The other piece is it has started been supplemented with, I think she's doing more an article-based newsletter and a program update. So like you might get just a e-newsletter of just these are the recreation programs happening. And then the next month is these are articles, or it might be every 2 months or something. But
So then maybe another takeaway, Chris, is if you have a chance to talk with her about whatever her cadence or schedule is. So if there's times that, wow, it would be great if we could write an article for this season, then that would help us after we see the newsletter. Sorry.
I'm really
so
upset.
glad we brought it up.
I am
because
glad
I
you
have
brought
not
it
seen
up.
it before, and
Yeah.
I thought I
you
just
could
must.
just go to the website and see these newsletter.
But you got to remember,
Well, yeah, but that it defeats the purpose of it. Yeah.
You want us 4 times?
No, it's, I don't know
Twice.
why I have 4 times a year.
How is it?
Twice a year.
The e-newsletter is twice.
I see, I think, yeah.
Then the other 2 times a year must just be general recreation program updates. And again, a lot of it goes back to content. Lynn does not write all of the articles about every department. So it's a matter of who has content to provide. And if we can supplement that with environmental advisory council related content, I think that's great.
It's the timing.
Yeah.
Do you have an internet connection?
Yeah, I can.
Can you pull up the,
Mhm.
go quickly and pull up?
But I want to give anybody extra work. I mean, but as far as filling content, I mean, we could have, the GAC
Mhm.
doing that, but, we could highlight recycling, in one thing. Talk about plastics in one thing. I mean, it's endless of
Yeah, and
of what we can
not
talk.
seasonal.
Nope, hold on, I'm still talking. And we can, highlight those things in each one, So, I mean, even if there is one a month, we could absolutely come up with content, not that would ever be an issue.
I mean, honestly, I think public education should probably be at the top. More opportunities we have, content out there, the better.
I think an EAC day.
First
Yeah.
step is making sure all the information we already have is getting to people. It sounds like e-letter aside, Facebook is not an effective medium for every resident. So
Mhm.
let's take
Right.
the information actually being distributed. We can get some.
I assume too, but we've talked about our website before. It's
Right.
Sarah's over there cringing.
But get a feel for what information. See what's working. what's not.
And also, how much time, like, does it have to be every month? Can it be every 2 months? I mean, to
Yeah.
Derek's point, and what Chris is saying, we need to think about the staff time. But if we could set something up, even putting it on the website,
Mm.
this e-newsletter is coming out this often, just make it a highlight, whatever.
It could be a new job that the township could provide to a resident to create the
Well,
newsletter.
wait,
To hire a new position. I will say we
we're
are,
talking about writing our own content, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we're not creating work for the
No,
staff,
yeah.
right? So,
Fair
yeah.
enough, right.
Lynn and whoever else. Tributes is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lynn, we need to be cognizant of their time. They got to put the content in, correct? We're
you
not.
guys write the letter. I mean, Frank, you've
Do we
written
write it?
2 of them, I think, already that have
Oh,
gone
we
into
put it
the,
in.
Articles that have gone in the
Yeah.
newsletter, I wrote.
yeah. He didn't get to read them because he never got the newsletter. So,
No, I think we should be creating content that the township.
Mhm. yeah, because I do create my own content from the planning department. So it's, to supplement that. And I mean, we can do a lot. That's the other thing too. The e-newsletter allows a lot of my content to move forward faster. And if we have EAC content, I think that can increase the frequency. So the
Still finding.
the homepage, there's a button here. And I will say, I don't know how much this is being shared, but we are working on some homepage updates to the website that will hopefully help some of this information get out a little bit more in front of you. So this is e-newsletter and communications. Here's where you sign up for Nixle. And here's where you're supposed to sign up to receive South Whitehall Township Quarterly e-newsletters.
Sure, I did that at some
Yeah.
point. I don't get,
I will look into it, but here's all copies of the newsletter.
oh, so it is quarterly.
It's quarterly?
Quarterly. It's
I guess so,
quarterly.
yeah. I don't think I put anything into,
Oh, that.
oh, yeah, I didn't ask you guys for something because my deadline was too quick. So I just put in something about the open space referendum that it passed.
No one's seen it.
Would have never known.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, if you wouldn't mind going back out to the screen, when you're done.
Mhm.
Say township events and more.
There are some township events that are promoted through Nixle. The big ones, I think like tree and bridge lighting and so forth has been promoted through Nixle.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What is?
The movies
Nixle?
are-
Is that-
yes. Yeah,
Our events gets to be actually big.
exactly.
There, that's
At the
it.
top of the Nixle
Green
list.
Gala, baby.
Yeah.
Green Gala.
The text will come through in green colors.
That'll be the only one.
So yeah, I will check on the sign up list.
That's what,
I mean, just not for nothing. I mean, I think I'm
get these.
for something that I need to know.
Like this one's a
I like a
reference,
text
sure.
message. I don't have to reply. Email's great. I'm on my computer all day, but I have to elect to look at it. Where a text message, you can't miss it.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, for whatever that's worth.
Just,
Yeah.
it needs to be pushed out to people.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. Well, part of the problem is finding the happy medium,
Yeah.
because we've also heard like, I don't want a text of every single thing
Yeah.
because then it dilutes the
there's a spill at this road, like, don't drive that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
But also, there's a, right, yeah.
Should be configured. All of agencies, you can give me every update. You know, you can
Yeah, good idea.
assume the township has. But
It's a big assumption.
if there is one, it might be like.
There is not.
Digital
I can tell you
distribution.
there is not.
Okay.
There needs to be. I am encouraged by the e-newsletter platform and Lynn kind of navigating that and learning more about what you can and can't do with that, how to automate things. And I think even set up something kind of similar to that where you can maybe sign up for different versions that like, hey, I'm interested. I go to every event. I have kids that go to all the programs. I want to receive, something every month based on the events, or I'm only interested in like the main 4 quarterly updates.
Just send me all the Project Atlas information.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And that's the other piece that is really, really, that's the other moving target we're trying to navigate is there's events, information, and then I need to be notified about this today. And this is specific information I want. And so here's a message from the Environmental Advisory Council.
Who signed off?
I don't know. Maybe I wrote this one on behalf of you guys, but there are some in there that, I know Frank wrote one maybe.
That's a simple
Here we
programming.
go. I think this one, there, Frank.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because there's clearly a link to sign up for emails, but it doesn't seem to be working.
No, that's why I'm
sure I did
concerned.
that before.
I did
Yeah,
it. I know I did.
I'm, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I am concerned. I will look into that.
But I think
Clearly
going back-
somebody else thought it was a good idea to email this newsletter,
It-
right?
Yeah,
So why isn't it? So we have to figure out why it's not happening. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you've never received one?
I can't recall.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I look at all my spam messages to make sure. So
Patiently waiting for his newsletter.
Hey, maybe fixing this issue will solve a lot of our public communication issues. Maybe just know, because we reference the newsletter a lot. There's a lot of information that we've been putting into that on very important topics.
it's a,
And it's a
I mean,
really
I've
beautiful
read it
newsletter.
and
Lynn might cry when she finds out that no one has read her newsletter.
I've read it on the website,
Yeah.
but I mean, when I go to the website, I'll take a look at it. It's not like I'm going there every day, though, right? Or every week, right?
Yeah.
So is everybody bringing an idea you want to work on?
We have a work plan
Yeah.
that we've agreed to and
I think if
presented.
you can send it out to us. Do you know what I mean? So we're not all over the place, so. Maybe wait, like number one.
Yeah, so everything we've talked about fits in
Yeah,
our
yeah,
work,
yeah.
fits in the
Yeah.
work plan we've already
Yeah.
agreed to, and
Yeah.
but we
Yeah, well,
can't do it all, right? And so we
Yeah.
just got to prioritize. That's
So
all.
we can figure out how much weight.
So the work plan that you guys worked on, I presented to the Board of Commissioners, and they wanted to pass along their gratitude to that at the last meeting. Maria, I think I saw you were like on the meeting, but yes, they really appreciate that, because that also gives the board a sense of like what they know, what you guys are assigned to do, but it's like, what are you working on? So the other benefit of that is it helps me start to think about planning ahead for things that are on my task list that I need to bring to you guys. And I think what Frank was asking for earlier, like there's the one goal that talks about expanding the partnership or strengthening the partnership with the library and with the Parkland School District. That's a goal on the work plan. You guys have some actions under there, but I think
what Frank was asking for is more like, okay, what specifically are we going to do now that we're starting to work through this process? So there's kind of like the high level work plan, that's your kind of guiding North Star. But as you guys work through it, we'll have to just kind of assign tasks and duties.
Yeah, and I think for each one of those, we probably
Mhm.
need somebody who's gonna take the lead, who's gonna, put in most of the effort, probably, right? Or coordinate among the rest of us if they. Probably best for, each one of those tasks to have one individual who's responsible.
I think especially for the public outreach ones and,
Yeah, yeah.
education ones, there's some on there that are code related, mapping related, and that's where like the point person can be me for that to get things ready for you. But
Because we could
Yeah.
do 100 things with the library,
Mhm.
but if we say we're going to do 100 things with the library, we probably won't do any, right? So it's just, I think we focus and pick a few, and then I think we'll be much more.
In the interest of time, we
Yeah, we need to
do
get with
have.
the land development. review.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we do have something that we need to get through. If it's okay, I'll kind of quickly run through. So what I wanted to provide you guys, I think it came up, I think Derek maybe asked about it at one of the previous meetings. You're getting closer to the, having land development review responsibilities and reviewing plans and so forth. We'll be making updates to the township ordinances, specifying what you're looking at land development review. With the PERT ordinance and Project Atlas, you have specific items to review when that comes back. And then actually right now we have a conditional use application that was submitted, and specifically under conditional use, the plans are required to go to the EAC. You guys make comments on that. I summarize those comments to the Planning Commission, and then ultimately that goes from the Planning Commission to the Board of Commissioners. To kind of expedite this, I threw in 2 examples of previous land development projects that were reviewed. I think I threw in some reviews from the Park and Recreation Board and the Shade Tree Commission, just to give you guys a sense of that. I think that's kind of what you're looking for, Derek. We don't really need to spend time on those. Those were just, if you had a chance to look at them, that's just to give you a sense of how I usually kind of take your comments. Moving into the item C, the conditional use application. So conditional use essentially means that it's a use that is provided for in a certain district only if it meets certain conditions that are approved by the Board of Commissioners. So in your packet on, it's probably best to go through the memo that I provided. Starting on 22. Yes, thank you very much. So this is typically how I will also kind of introduce land development projects for you. I found it to be helpful for the other advisory boards, giving them a project description. Usually I just pull the narrative exactly out of the application, giving you some kind of background on maybe what community development has already done or seen. Sometimes you'll see a project that comes in through some sort of other approval and they're coming back, just to kind of give you a little bit more background. Under the community development considerations for this one, I basically just described the conditional use process. And I also included items. Items B, number 1. So this gives you a sense of when the Board of Commissioners is reviewing conditional use applications, they must state that there's sufficient evidence that the proposed use will meet items A through L. I felt like 2 items that were appropriate through here that the EAC should comment on are item A and item J. If you have other comments on the other items, we can talk about those, but I think these are probably the most applicable. And then again, what I'll do is I'll take those comments, summarize them into a memo. That memo goes directly to the Planning Commission. The project itself, and the other considerations are, that is just the conditional use process, what the board looks for any conditional use application. Specifically, the application is for a special event venue, which is a use in the zoning ordinance. And I've also included that definition and those requirements specific to that use in the memo. But a lot of that is kind of out of the scope of this board. It's more parking and other considerations, most likely from the Board of Commissioners and Public Safety Commission. So what I'm looking for tonight is comments on the Core Flower Farm special event venue. They are submitting a proposal to create a special event venue at the flower farm. I do have copies of the land development plans here. I don't know how much everyone was able to look at those.
I did have a clarifying question on the proposal. So the new yellow building is the entire pole
Yes.
barn.
Yes.
The total square footage of the new building. Square feet of the proposed special building, 3,600 square feet. So I'm trying to, just my clarity is the other 36, like the garage portion of the building, that's in our consideration.
That's a great question. I would say definitely comment on it, of the whole project, if you see a potential impact. But yes, that's correct. The pole barn itself, they're looking to construct for storage. They're looking to use a space of that for a special event. So it's not the entire thing as of right now. To my understanding, that the entire pole building will be used specifically for events, but I don't know if it eventually grows large enough, if they have to come back or so forth. But if that's a concern, you can certainly make that concern. I think the difference you'll see here in the conditional use application and your comments on that, as opposed to a very specific land development review, you can be a little bit more broad in your comments, because there's not as many specific items. You're not looking for, this square footage of that and so forth. These are all just informational comments that the board will take in their consideration at the public hearing to approve this conditional use or not.
Pretty comments to set up a couple points. One was an attached office. Use for that spaces also complies with the ordinance for sound, noise, if they're produce a lot of noise. So want to indicate the 73 or 83 spot gravel designated on the drawing for potential stormwater. One more runoff. Septic or well drawing for either subject.
Thank you, Brian, for very, very excellent questions and comments. I should have mentioned in the beginning, this will still go through the land development process. So a lot of that it specifically is not shown on here, but it will be shown on here. And that will be addressed through land development. So it's more the concept at this point, and the use of the property itself. But those are excellent comments. So thank you.
The process of conditional use, it gets approved, the conditional use, and then
They will submit,
normal permitting.
they'll submit full land development plans. So they could be approved for a conditional use to say that it kind of works in the, if you have a use that's allowed by right, if the use was to say a farm, and they want to build just, an agricultural building for a farm, they would have no problem getting that zoning approval because that's permitted in this zone. They would submit the land development plans to talk about all of that, the space that they would need for that use. Because the special event venue potentially could have impacts on surrounding areas, it's not something permitted by right in that zone because it is agricultural residential. It's not a commercial area. It can be permitted by conditional use, understanding there might be other conditions that should be considered for this kind of unique type of use. So this is the first step, and then they could move forward with land development plans. They could not move forward with land development plans. They could be approved or they could be denied with their land development plans. But excellent questions.
I was curious about what.
They'll
By this,
Yeah, I don't know if they have that prepared yet. I think it's first can they get approval, and if that approval has a limitation on the size of events or something like that, then they'll probably develop their septic plans associated with that. But that's another component that would be later developed and required by land development. I think it's common practice to understand first, if say they want to do something really large, they would then design a large septic system. But if they're limited to that space, or if as part of the conditional use approval, they say, sure, you can get the conditional use, but it's only going to be Saturdays from this hour to this hour is what's approved. I think that'll dictate what their land development plans look like.
Don't need to talk about it. It was just.
No, I mean, it's a good question. I think you want to think about can I do what I want to do on the property? And then you figure out if I'm allowed to do that, how do I do that?
Right.
I had, Chris, and I'm wondering, I don't remember if I read it, but I think you just alluded to it. We're not sure how often they want to have these events. Is that correct?
I think it's in here.
30, I think 30
Yeah.
per year. Okay, so
On
it could,
weekends.
on weekends. Okay, so it's going to be weekends. I'm curious, because of the rural nature there, I would be wondering, when you have a big event, who pays attention to the amount of waste that goes out from an event? They're in a almost 9-acre area. When everybody leaves and goes home, what type of a secure
Like
container?
a garbage.
What type
yeah.
of container do you have? Because learned it, when the people leave, the wildlife comes out, and, is something going to get in there, pull things apart, wind blows things? So I'm just curious about that. And I don't know if that's a comment that should be made now or not, but I think
it's a good comment to make in your review, so that when they go to the public hearing, there might be similar comments to that. And it's something that they can say, oh, we have a plan for that. We have a locking dumpster that would be associated with this, or we can include something. And because I think that also then brings up things like trash pickup, if it's even 30 events per year is a lot to, they're not renting a dumpster one time, and,
Right.
if they're prepared for that.
And then, I don't know, I'm just going to ask this out of curiosity. Brian brought up good points about well and septic. Depending, I guess, on how that would go, once you get that land development plan, and I don't know, I'm assuming they're going to be thinking about how many people are you anticipating, so build these things appropriately. But is this also a situation where there would be like porta pots, that kind of thing? Not that I'm against them, but I'm just kind of curious,
I think
and
it's a
maybe that
fair-
comes later.
Well, I think it's a fair question to ask. I believe it's the intent for them to have more of a permanent bathroom situation there for the anticipated amount of events and people at events. But there are other things. I mean, if this becomes, like a wedding venue, for example, the trailer, that they bring in specific to the events, that might be more cost effective to them. So I think that's a fair question to bring up, again, just from an environmental perspective.
That's how I'm trying to
just,
look at
yeah,
this.
Thinking about the porta potty trailer, that prompts a question. Like, because I'm looking here, they don't have any kitchen space or restroom space. So that, and you need an outdoor kitchen. That's not going to be protected and shielded. They mentioned the landscaping around. Placement for cooking trailers or whatever they need. Or would there be a stipulation just to have off-site?
Excellent question.
But yeah, that's a good point. There are no bathrooms on this floor. So I think it's safe to assume.
And would lighting be something we would?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, sorry. I know you have the specific
Yeah.
issue.
I will say a lighting plan is a requirement under the land development, but if there's kind of a broad
I
comment
guess
on
like
lighting.
it's a farm and you're going to put a bunch of lights in there. It's not conducive.
Yeah. So, and we don't know what lights or where they're going to place them yet, but they will need to submit a lighting plan for any permanent fixtures if they will need to have, say, like a floodlight on the barn for security purposes or something. They'll need to show that in the illumination of that in land development. I guess if you want to make a comment on the character, that's kind of an appropriate comment. So if it's something like, as they're preparing the land development plans, to consider the surrounding area and how lighting can affect that. So there's what can you meet in the ordinance, but then also how does this affect the surrounding landscape? So I think that's a very appropriate comment now.
And the ordinance has like, you can't see it a certain distance away, like the little lumens.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, it's,
Height limit, maybe.
I will say this about our lighting ordinance currently, what was developed for the PERT, thank you, Sarah, for kind of like bringing that up and spearheading that when we wrote that in, is much better than what we have in our lighting ordinance now. It's okay. It's not great. So I think any comments are helpful as far as lighting, because it probably won't get caught in it's very easy to meet the ordinance, I should say.
But that would not be conducive to a rural event center.
Probably not, yeah. So, yeah.
His neighboring houses would see it.
And that's a good question. And if you guys have comments on that, I think asking the question, and then if you guys, my interpretation of your comments are, this is, an agricultural area. Even though the light may be focused on one location, the effects of lighting in the middle of a farm field are probably greater to what people see. There's a vista component too across here. So I'll kind of put in the question of, can they talk about temporary event lighting versus permanent lighting, and to consider the rural character of the surrounding area in their lighting plans?
Nope.
The timing.
I was gonna say, well, environmental, like,
Yeah.
you don't want to nocturnal animals around.
Mm-hmm.
The wedding, there might be open. He's not gonna like it. They're not gonna like it.
They,
I thought
they
those were the
didn't say
noises,
anything
but-
about timing of
I didn't
events?
see the
Okay.
timing. I know that they said that it would be exclusively on the weekends.
Mhm.
They didn't say no later than.
Yeah,
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone else brings that up as well,
Right.
so.
And
if
that
you can-
goes the same with the
Yeah.
Traffic.
Mhm.
Is there any?
Yeah.
Is there any limitation?
Congratulations.
The size of the roads, like, so like, these are lower volume roads, but now you're introducing a,
Party supplies or.
yeah,
Or the dumpster even.
I
yeah.
have that written down. What does that mean for fire and emergency access? Didn't say because I assumed the committee would. go.
Public Safety Commission
Yeah.
will weigh in on that, and then, but kind of to your point too, Frank, the specific access and the ingress and egress will be looked at through township engineer. It's not something, any proposed use will have to be looked at as far as anticipated, vehicles per day and so forth. So they'll probably use some sort of comparable Institute of Transportation Engineers use for this to anticipate what the traffic could be. But I do think that goes back to the timing. So like that can be something, sure, we'll look at, can the roads handle it? But the character of the roads, they're not used to that many vehicles exiting at one time.
At midnight.
At midnight,
With the
yeah.
lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Coming from a party.
yeah, I don't recall, Chris, but did they mention a maximum number for
Yeah.
for the event?
Yeah,
What
I
is their
forget.
maximum number? I was just curious about that because that helps with traffic and, like the number that they expected each event.
No, there's like a set number of spaces established, so we can correlate that.
I'm sorry, what was
There's
that?
a set number of parking spaces,
Right,
so you would assume
you would assume,
that so many cars are.
yeah. And how many people?
Don't get me wrong, I think this.
Yeah. I went to the website and what they're doing is pretty neat.
Mhm.
And so I think they will be sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
I think they have that sensitivity. I think, weren't they at that agricultural
They
meeting
were,
that I
yes.
was at? Yeah, yeah,
They are very supportive of everything that
yeah.
the council does.
Yes, I think that they would be sensitive to a number of things there because just the fact that they're growing
Yeah.
things. I mean, they need to think about lighting in regard to the different things that they grow.
And they're
Much
very
lighting at
sensitive
night
to what they're growing. And
Yeah, it's not good for some plants.
Will there be any impact?
It's their
Yeah.
farm.
Mhm.
It is their farm. It's
their
a flower farm.
So they're
Yeah.
just going to have.
There's not, the agricultural area is, whether it was a tilled area, to the north here in the past, the intent is to continue to grow their flower farm there. No impact to existing ag. Yeah.
I have a question about the one that references on page 31 that references ordinance 350-18B1J. So I think this is them that they wrote.
Yes.
That the applicant is also willing to install reasonable landscape buffering and or fencing if requested by the township
Mhm.
in order to further soften views and reduce impacts point. So is this something that we should have an opinion on what that looks like
I think
at some
so.
point now?
I
or-
think now is a good time to do it. I think it
So if
sticks
we-
better now because
Right.
you guys may not see this at land development.
Right. So, we might want to talk, I don't know how we form, I'm still,
Mhm.
still new. But where that maybe should go and what it should be, I think it would be worth. Page 31 at the top. I don't know if there's a preference against fencing or the character of the fence would certainly affect the character of the area.
Mhm.
Fencing would be huge. mean, that would be really expensive. But so I don't know. Certainly around the parking lot, I think we have ordinances about
We do.
planting
So
around parking
the-
lots specifically.
The parking lot will have its own buffer requirements that are either fences or dense hedges. Zoning triggers buffering between dissimilar uses. So that's kind of up in the air as to whether, I don't know the zoning officer's opinion of that, whether
Yeah.
those buffers will be required between like the property line here and so forth. You know, if this is residential, this is ag, but if this is a semi-commercial use. So
Yeah.
anything that you want to provide now, I think is helpful. And I think that they've stated they're willing to comply. So I can see them going above and beyond the standard
Right.
landscape
Yeah.
buffering.
I am not an expert in landscape buffering. So if other people, I'm encouraging us to contribute, but I don't know what is typically expected.
What are your goals for the landscape buffering? I can put that in, and then that way they know what the intent is. Once they prepare the land development plans, that'll go to Landscape and Shade Tree Commission, the township engineer, planning staff, and they'll get more of that technical review.
Yeah, sure.
Just to be mindful of the two homes that are here, maybe they could start with the buffering to just kind of keep the two homes. I don't see any development over here, and I think these might be ag up here, I'm not sure, but maybe starting with the buffer to protect the two homes that are existing within the line of sight of lights and sound.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the question too. Is it buffering? Is it fencing? I agree with the fencing around the parking lot, and they'll have specific saldo requirements for that, and even zoning requirements. The comments around like the perimeter of the property, is that your comment that you're looking at buffering around the perimeter of the property? Oh, that's Marie's microphone. That's all right. I thought it was someone on.
No, I'm looking around.
Should be consistent with the nature of the farming, rural. Yeah.
And just to point out too, it did say in here something about wanting to keep an open space between the inside and out. So I'm assuming that the people who are going to be attending the party are going to be meandering around the land. And so that would be something to be mindful of, so they know where the partition of the land between the neighbors is, so they just don't meander off and enjoying the food and drink. Yeah, right.
So there are parcels that are on. Are any of them farms as well? Obviously, I see the little houses, but I don't know how much land.
Nothing is really actively farmed in this area. This is the most
Outside of
active.
there.
Correct. Yeah. Everything to the east is fallow. Everything to the south has kind of started to go fallow. They stopped farming that one. This is the last piece of active farmland, and it's again a different type of agricultural use than it was originally. These are excellent comments, by the way. I just want to say kudos to you all for going through this for the first time. This is terrific.
It's interesting on page 30 that they do mention, they do have the safe and efficient access and traffic.
Thought of it.
Yeah, they've thought of it.
Well, yeah, so all of the things, they're making their own comments on the requirements.
Right.
So, and you can look at that and say, like, you agree with that or expand upon that, or you disagree with it for some reason or another. I think especially that I would love a comment on on page 30, 350 18B1E compatibility with character of surrounding area. I think that's kind of when I think back to the South Whitehall landscapes plan, that's really a big piece of this board. I think that kind of fits into, is this consistent? So we'll do our own staff review, but I'd love to hear it from you guys, like what your assessment of this proposal with that and how that fits. I think, it's not just comments on things that are, hey, we want more information or things to consider, but things you like about the plan, if there are things that you like.
They provided the elevations. I thought they provided it looks to me like something. Construction, certainly. Again, I would say the question to me is how does this fit into other existing buildings? So land.
Mm-hmm.
The exterior views good to me.
So the
I think
building
the placement of
itself is reminiscent of the character, but yes. But
Yeah,
the
beautiful.
the question is, the placement of the building, how much is that a disruption or kind of?
Well, I think the placement of it is mindful because they have the parking lot buffering, where there's not going to be as much sound. Well, there'll be sound, but not as much potentially that's going to be happening in the pole barn. So I think the placement is mindful where they have it in the center of their property, buffered by, and overlooking their flower bed. So I'm sure that was their thought as well, doing it there. And if they want to do their water, I'm guessing this is going to be like a retention basin back here. That would probably have to be fenced in as well, I'm sure. But they could kind of beautify that in some way too.
Mhm.
But
And why they've done it in the layout, that will become the part.
Mhm.
Correct.
Mhm.
If we're doing commendations, I'll say that I appreciate that they're saying music will be permitted only within the building. I think that will support the local noise ordinances. We've noticed that and appreciate it.
Very interesting, Chris, how they. Well, I shouldn't say that because I know what our plan was. Existing deciduous trees. They actually have these deciduous trees all along the perimeter.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Large trees?
Fairly large. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like an old hedgerow from
Yeah,
the
right.
West Farm.
Yeah.
And used to have that in my
Absolutely.
backyard.
Yeah, and I think they've even planted additional.
Mhm.
That whole axis is considered a private driveway, right? None of the.
Correct.
exciting and new. It's great.
That's a nice comment. And I think those are good comments for a conditional use hearing that it's essentially, it's a hearing for the applicant to show that what they're doing fits within the township. And if there's a township advisory board is saying, we feel like this fits in a good way, it just helps the conversation, it helps the board understand, because they're going to look at a lot of different things.
Especially if we could keep the flower, people there.
Yeah.
That's, another part that, you want to keep those people there.
Yeah, this is.
They got there. Right.
They're new. I mean, they've only been.
Mhm.
less than-
Yeah, around, yeah. The one of the comments that I'll make in my letter or Dave will make in his letter is about the South Whitehall Landscapes Plan talks about different mechanisms of preserving agriculture, and by allowing commercial uses and things like this, that preserves agriculture because that keeps a viable business and keeps people.
Especially since you said those fields are fallow, like, no one
No one's.
chosen to farm that area.
Sure, especially for the use.
Events tend to generate a lot of waste.
Mhm.
Recycling is really considered. Trash can. There are ways that they could consider structuring events friendly, recycled materials.
Mhm.
I'm positive that they do.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, just, is that within bounds of what we're talking about here?
Yes.
To say, can we ask them to consider structuring events in a way that has minimal environmental impact?
Yes. Yeah, because again, these will go as comments to the planning commission and then to the board. So that might be something the board asks about directly or tries to apply some sort of condition to it that doesn't necessarily need to be somewhere within the code. It just has to be a reasonable condition. And I think that is a very appropriate question for this type of use.
I mean, so there's ways things you can consider in holding events.
These are great comments. I mean, for me, this addresses everything I was looking for. You guys kind of talked about the character. You talked about the potential impacts, specific impacts. I think you provided not just concerns, but also considerations for those impacts. And then I think comments on the specific use are great as well. It's not necessarily the site and location. It's any sort of special venue should be considered that. So
Allow us to hold one of our events there for free.
yeah. This might be a look. Oh, yeah. Don't get her excited. This might be a location of a. future
I'm
meeting
backing
house.
her
We'll advertise it.
Yeah. No one will show up.
Nobody will come back. Just give you everything you need.
Yes, thank you. So what I will do is I will prepare a memo. I will not have time to bring the memo back for our next meeting before it needs to go to the planning commission, because this needs to go in for the May planning commission. This is on the agenda. So I'll send it out if you guys just want to take a look at it, and then you can send any comments back. But otherwise that'll go into the packet for the May, I think is it 11th? May 14th planning commission. So they'll get all the comments from anyone else, and then they'll make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, and then it'll be scheduled. I don't know when it'll be scheduled for their hearing with the Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
So go on to the.
Yes.
So courtesy of the floor. Do we have anybody online who? Chris, did you want to briefly mention the?
Well, just more talking schedule wise with the summer months coming up. That's one concern with travel schedules, vacation schedules, school letting out and everything. And then anticipating, obviously we moved in here for a reason, anticipating large crowds. Thankfully it wasn't. And just anticipating kind of, having to focus on one agenda item with Project Atlas if that comes back. So I think what I'll probably do is coordinate with staff, but I wanted to start to think about if we want to reschedule some of our meetings to better accommodate vacation schedules, potentially looking at a new venue. We're considering that. And we're just looking at options as what's probably the most viable if we do get Project Atlas back. How do we handle big crowds with that? But I think I could probably, once I get more information on a solidified plan, email that out. But as long as everyone's open to potentially shifting things around in the next coming months, because the other thing is our May meeting is bumped up because of Memorial Day. So that's the third week of May instead of the fourth week of May. So we don't have a lot of time between now and then, and we'll see what happens in June. So I can follow up with more on that, but as long as no one has any major objections to that, or does anyone know, like, hey, I'm not going to be here for the entire month of June or anything like that? Okay. Yeah.
Another the question I had around meetings. Possible to hold meetings at
Yes, well, to an extent. We did talk about, and I did talk to Herb about this, of looking at the bioswale at the Davis Smith property. I would love to go there, have him present that. He's all excited. He's presenting at conferences and stuff. The only issue is, I think we still need to have at least a location here, unless we're going to cancel it here or advertise it as such. So we advertise these meetings at the beginning of the year to be in these locations. If we change the location and still want to hold a meeting, we would have to re-advertise, which we would do if we were to move to an offsite facility for a large meeting. But that would be.
I'm thinking more of a social meeting.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
The Green Advisory Council, we had some meetings, park,
Yeah.
pizza, and just I think that would be a fun.
Yeah, I think it's great. The only caveat is if you have like official business, like if you guys had to review this conditional use hearing or a conditional use application, you couldn't do that there if it was the public meeting. But I think a social gathering is a great idea. Or unfortunately, we can't do it before because I have landscape and shade tree. I mean, you guys could go and I could sit here inside and you guys could be eating pizza and having a nice time outside and then come here for the busy work. But yeah.
Thanks, Sarah, once you go.
Oh, there you go.
The only one.
All right, well, maybe everybody think about that if we want to have.
I'll say something after the meeting.
Yeah, again, if you're conducting official business because it's advertised here, we'd have to stay here unless we definitely want to hold the meeting offsite. Like if you wanted to go to a park and hold the public meeting at the park, we can do that. But we would have to advertise it in the paper as such and coordinate with the weather. But if you want to do a social thing, go for it. Yeah, coordinate it amongst yourselves.
We can.
On the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. I don't have a final plan for it today at what we would do. Partly because we don't want to put too much emphasis on saying, oh, we're going to do it here this day at this time, and here's a plan, and then we don't get a submission. So definitely more to come. Probably, I'm trying to nail down like a backup plan in the next week. So I will reach out if that's the case, and then that way, because we need a lot of lead time too to advertise it, and then nail down a location. So, well, and that's been the other piece is if
if a resubmission comes back in the next few weeks, it can go on to the June meeting. But you guys have your meeting bumped up in May, so you wouldn't have a lot of time to review it. So that's kind of my other concern. You wouldn't have a lot of time. You'd have a week, and I want to make sure that you have more than a week to review it. So that's what we're trying to work out internally. What's the best avenue, not just for you guys, but for all the other advisory boards. Again, if we get a resubmission, so it's we could talk about all this and then we don't get anything till August, and then it's a different.
So item is make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion.
First and second.
And the meeting is adjourned at 9:11.
Great. 9:12.
Okay.